Hey everyone, hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to r/Am I the A-hole, where we have 4 incredible stories. If you're new to this channel, a sub would be great. Let's jump to the stories. Our first story is, am I the a-hole for kicking this girl out of my house after she mistook my UK flag for a Confederate flag? So for a bit of background, we are all in our mid-20s and live in the USA. Me and 2 of my friends rent out a decent-sized house and we had a get-together. My roommate is friends with these 2 girls. Call them Kate and Jess. And they invite a new friend. Call her Ashley. Now Ashley, when she comes over, I see that she is recording us. I thought she was just posting to her Instagram or Snapchat. I don't pay attention to any of it. Really. I notice that she is just videotaping a lot, so I'm like, Kate, can you check on your friend? Like, what's going on? Turns out, she thought that the UK flag we have hanging in our living room was a Confederate flag, and she was getting evidence against us. When she found out that it wasn't, everyone just acted like it was a huge joke. But I got mad. Like, for real? You think we are racist, yet invite you over to our house where you have our hospitality and our food and alcohol. In the meanwhile, you're getting evidence to ruin our livelihoods? I don't want anyone like that in my house at all, so I make a scene and got her to leave. Kate and Jess say that it was just a misunderstanding. I was like, no, there wasn't. It's the principle behind it. Some of our friends came to Ashley's side, but I don't see how you can support her. Am I the jerk for having 0 tolerance for a girl that thinks I'm racist? Our second story is, am I the a-hole for telling my wife it's not cute for her to encourage our teenage daughter to expect her boyfriend to pay for everything in their relationship? My wife and I have been married for 18 years. We have our 16-year-old daughter who has been dating a slightly shy/awkward young man for around 3 to 4 months now. He seems very nervous around my daughter and has admitted in a passing comment, here and there to my wife and I, that he can't believe she agreed to date him and he thinks she's way out of his league. He seems very respectful, just shy. My wife is usually an independent, awesome woman, and her ideals align closely with mine, particularly in the term of feminism and equality. We have both strived to raise our daughter to be as independent and capable as possible. Since my daughter has been dating this kid, my wife has changed considerably and has given our daughter advice that has left me with raised brows more than once. Some of the advice I've heard my wife give is, oh, it's cute for boys to pay for everything, especially in your first relationship. Or, oh honey, don't worry about that. He can pay for you. If he really liked you, he would. And similar. I've tried to balance this out by telling my daughter straight away, 2 people in a relationship should be contributing equally. And my personal favorite, if someone asks if they can take you out to dinner, it's reasonable to expect them to pay. But if someone asks you to grab dinner with them, it's reasonable to split the payment. I figured that it would be an easy way for a young person to understand the difference. However, I've noticed my daughter becoming more and more entitled with her boyfriend's money. They haven't been anywhere obviously since we're home, but the way she talks about him, oh, I'll just ask him to pay for whatever, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. She has also flippantly bragged/mentioned that she gets him to buy gift cards for her, etc., by mentioning her mother's advice, that is. If you really liked me, you'd pay for it. I spoke to my wife privately and told her my concerns. She insists it's a rite of passage for girls, and it's cute that she should feel a guy is completely spoiling her. I told her that it's not cute for her to be thinking it's acceptable to view relationships as personal ATMs, and my wife became very angry with me and is now calling me an a-hole with a lot of hostility. Our third story is, am I the a-hole for refusing to pay back my cousin after my baby ruined her blouse? I gave birth 4 weeks ago, and we decided to have a baby ceremony where everyone gets to meet our lovely daughter, Charlotte. My cousin Alice and her parents were among the guests. The first thing I'll say about her is that she has expensive taste. She's the sort of person who has a minimum price range for how much she spends on clothing. She doesn't own anything that isn't designer and has some items of clothing that cost thousands. She is a banker and still lives with parents, so she can afford the lifestyle. It was Alice's turn to hold a baby, and she was happy to, at first, But suddenly, Charlotte vomited on her. Alice handed Charlotte back to me and ran off crying, and spent the rest of the event crying in the car. I went to see her to apologize, but she didn't want to hear any of it. My mom gave her one of her shirts, which was too big for her, and she felt completely upset and humiliated. Today I got a call from my mom, saying that she'd been on the phone to her sister, Alice's mom, saying that they want me to reimburse the cost of the blouse, approximately $200, since it was completely ruined. I said no. At the end of the day, we all know what babies can be like. She took a risk wearing something so expensive, knowing a baby was nearby, and unfortunately it backfired. I feel bad for her, but it was not my fault. Am I doing the right thing by refusing to pay up? Our last story is, am I the a-hole for telling this college guy's mom that her coming into his interview cost him the job? I am a hiring manager at a tech company, and I was hiring for summer internships a little while ago. We had a guy about 19 years old applying for a summer internship between his freshman and sophomore years of college. It was a virtual interview over Zoom because of COVID. A minute or two in, when I was introducing myself, his mom came in and introduced herself and started talking about her son's work ethic. I thought it was a little strange. I said something polite about wanting to hear from him. She just didn't get the hint and kept coming into camera frame during the interview and interrupting her son to answer questions for him. I asked a few technical questions, which he seemed to answer well, and then cut the interview fairly short. I thought that was all over and done with, until I got an email from a woman, about a month later, asking about her son's application. She seemed offended he hadn't gotten acceptance or rejection. It bothered me. I felt bad for the kid, honestly. Way back when I was a teenager, my mom used to pull the same thing. But luckily, she only did that when I was 15 and working for a day camp. Not when I was an adult applying for engineering jobs. But I felt like this poor kid was getting his chances ruined because his mom wasn't giving him the chance to apply on his own. I sent an email back saying I was not at liberty to send information about an application to anybody but the applicant. I also asked HR to send an email to the kid saying sorry, but we were not making him an offer. It is something we usually do, but his rejection email must have slipped through the cracks with all the COVID craziness. Anyway, after we sent that, I got a phone call from his mom. She had a forwarded copy of the email, and she was demanding answers. I said that I could not comment on the guy's performance in the interview to her, as she was not the applicant. If he wanted to reach out to me, I was happy to give him some feedback. However, I could say that regardless of his performance, her presence in the interview took him out of consideration for the position. We were looking for an independent and self-driven person for the position, and for that reason, it is important to see an applicant speak for themselves, follow up themselves, etc. I also said that, as a piece of advice, every hiring manager I've met in my career who sees someone other than the applicant answering questions during an interview, follow up on the applicant's behalf, etc., would also put their resume in the do not hire pile. Since, while the applicant may be skilled and motivated, they need the ability to demonstrate those traits themselves. She effing blew up at me over that, kinda cussing me out to the point where I hung up. Am I the jerk for how I handled this? Maybe I should have kept my mouth shut much sooner. Comment below.